You've got the different options depending on obviously what purchase price you go. You can do a 10%, 20% or a 5%. To speak basically, like 90% of people end up doing a 10% deposit to get started, because yes, you do pay lender's mortgage insurance, but it's not that much, and it will save you more money in terms of the actual deposit, the cash in your account, by doing a 10 rather than putting down a full 20% and eating up all the funds, because I'd rather do a 10% and then have that bit of extra funds left over to go off and buy another property in another month or two, because two is better than one. I would stick to a 10%, and just to give you like a heads up, if you were to buy a property as an example of like 350,000, right? You just work out 10% of 350, 35,000. And then the other stamp duty, legal fees, pest and building, you add all that up to, let's say, 15 or 10. So for a 300K purchase, you're looking at about, 48, 50K all up, roughly. When you break it down into those bite-sized pieces, looks like you've got more than enough to do that easily. Pretty much like we're working on more properties that are coming available. So we will likely have even more coming available in the next week and a half, 2 weeks. But I have basically emailed you through, you might have had your emails going off while we've been on the phone, but I've emailed you through a few properties that are available that we can at least chat about and you can have a look at. These are all not on real estate nor domain, that's what another thing I was talking about. So these are not technically online for sale. One of them might go online if we don't, like, within the next 2 days, but we've got the head start on it anyway. The first one that I sent through, one of my personal favorites, the one for 310, 7 to 8 kilometers from the city. So you can get to the city, there's maps there which you'll probably see attached at the bottom. There's a lot of attachments, but basically you can drive to the city in 10, 15 minutes. And also you can drive to the beach in like 10, 15 minutes too. Amazing spot, good location, has a good reputation too. It's not one of those, rough, crazy areas. This is a townhouse, it's not a unit. What sometimes domain and real estate and those online things, if you Google this property, it doesn't come up online for sale, but it says it's an apartment. It's not an apartment. You know how sometimes real estate and domain will give you estimates about what properties are worth? They're wrong. I personally do, it frustrates the hell out of me, basically. It's what I remembered thinking when I was like 18, 19, buying my first property. And I was like, well, why is this for sale for 400 if it says online it's only worth 280? And then finally, after years and years of research and all that stuff, I realized, they're just like random metrics that get put into RP data, real estate and domain, which spit out a random number. They can be sometimes accurate, but more often than not, they're not accurate. If you look on like real estate or domain says like the high point's 295 and the midpoint's 255. But you see the most important thing, it says it's an apartment, so it's comparing it to apartments, whereas this is a renovated townhouse, so there's obviously a big difference there. So that's why the estimate's way off if you do look at it, and I always mention that first, because sometimes people will be like, oh, this is 310, but this says it's only worth 250 or something silly like that. But that's because it's filtered as an apartment, not a townhouse. And then also those estimates, to give you the heads up, which I planned, this wasn't in the book, which I should, because there's so much about real estate that you can't fit it in one book, but it's going to be in the next book. Those estimates online, they don't factor in like renovations that have been done. If let's say you have bought a property today and it was unrenovated, and then let's say you spent like, ridiculous amount in renovating it, spent 200,000 renovating the property, so it should be worth 200,000 more. If you jumped online and checked the value of it before you did the renovation and after the renovation, there would be no update, because how does those platforms know that you did a renovation? Yeah, you'd have to go on real estate and then update it and then type in that, but even then it's still spitting out the metrics based off just the average, if it's even filtered correctly. Sometimes you've got like a unit filtered as a house and the house filtered as a unit. And that's where sometimes if you look on real estate or domain, if you filter a house in a certain suburb, you just continue flicking through, you'll see a unit pop up too, and you'll say, wait a minute, that's not a house. It's because the agents, they filtered it as a house when it's a unit incorrectly.